Welcome back, JT Squad. Part 2, Wyoming to Vegas, the life of JT. Sorry it's been a minute. I've been super busy getting ready for this move to Las Vegas. But on this episode, we're going to go through my junior high experiences and my high school experiences. I hope you guys enjoy. A lot of cool pictures, a lot of cool memories. Stay tuned. And as you guys know, there can't be a story time video without something JT is sipping on. We got the Mike's Hard Mango. This stuff is amazing, guys. Alright, let's talk a little bit about Johnson Junior High in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I explained last time in my last video. Bad reputation, y'all. For gangs, violence, drugs, stabbings, shootings, all kinds of crazy stuff. They were also known to haze a lot of the newcomers coming into the junior high, where they were throwing them in dumpsters. They were hiding their clothes in gym time. They were stealing stuff from them and stuff like that. So to be honest, I was this little frail kid. You guys seen some pictures, glasses, skinny, blonde hair. I was super terrified of going to Johnson Junior High. Super terrified. The only thing that saved me was that I played sports, and the athletes were definitely respected in all the schools I ever went. But let's talk about my first day in Johnson Junior High School. Before we get into this first day at Johnson Junior High, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We just passed 3,500 subscribers.
Say congratulations.
I'm so blessed by all you that have subscribed to the channel and showed support and love. So definitely do that. Also, check out the merch. 10% off. Use the code America10, and we got masks in the store and everything. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start into my first day at Johnson Junior High. I remember this day. I was so nervous. I've never been this nervous in my life. You know, I heard all the horror stories. You know, all the kids from other schools say they're going to Cary Junior High, they're going to McCormick and other junior highs, where they were all right. You know, they weren't that bad. But when you told someone you're going to Johnson Junior High, everybody just kind of shook their head and they're like, oh no, Johnson Junior High. So I'm like scared out of my freaking mind. This little frail kid, you know, I probably weighed about 65 pounds back then, you know, but I did play a lot of sports, so I was like, all right, you know, I play sports. So I never forget this time. I enter the school. So I'm like, you know, nervous, you know, I'm trying to find some of my friends, you know, to kind of click up with. So I find a couple of my buddies, you know, we're all like, all right, cool. You know, we're all nervous as hell. You know, everybody talked about the reputation of Johnson Junior High and everything like that. So I remember I look, and this one of our other classmates, this little nerdy kid, and he was getting chased by some big ass kids, and I'm like, oh my, those guys are junior high kids, you know. I'm freaked out. Next thing you know, they grab that kid, they throw him in the dumpster. I'm kidding you guys not. His clothes were all soaked and dirty and everything like that, and they're like, hey new kid, and they're like yelling at me and my homeboys, and we're like, oh shit. So we start running. You know, I'm fast. I'm skinny, small, but I'm fast as hell. So we get into class and stuff like that, and they're like, we'll get you by the end of the day. You know, I'm scared out of my freaking mind, man. So I remember I'm walking down the hall, you know, and I seen one of them. I'm like, oh shit, you can't duck out. So I'm like, all right, you know, I'm going to get hazed. I just know it. So next thing you know, they rip the books out of my hand. Books scatter all over the floor. Everybody's laughing. I'm embarrassed, you know. I didn't even want to go back to school after that first day. But after that, one of my homeboys, his big brother was really well known, and I was hanging out with him. So they kind of left me alone. They're like, oh, you're cool. You know, everything's cool. So after that, junior high wasn't that bad. I did a lot of sports. I played basketball. I played football. I played baseball. And I had a decent time. I got pretty good grades. And, you know, it wasn't that bad going to Johnson Junior High back then, you know, especially when I was an athlete and stuff like that. I didn't really have too many crazy experiences. I know there was drug use there. I know there was a lot of gangs, hazing, everything like that. But I really tried to stand clear of that, kind of did my own thing, had my little group of friends, and I studied a lot. I got really good grades in school. So that was pretty much my junior high experiences back then. So I make it through junior high fine. I didn't have any problems, played my sports, you know, made a lot of friends. I think I had my first girlfriend when I was like 14. So everything was going perfect for me, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, I remember going home one day and my mom and stepdad said, "You got to sit down." I said, you know, "What's the deal? What's going on?" And I remember they told me, "We kind of have bad news but good news." And I'm like, "Oh great, now what's going on?" You know, like I said, I just started making new friends. You know, I had my old friends from elementary, so I was doing great, you know, and they gave me that bad news that we're moving to Laramie, Wyoming, guys. So I don't know if you guys know anything about Wyoming or Laramie, Wyoming. Laramie, Wyoming is very, very small. Like, it's probably a quarter of the size of where I live right now. And that's where I'm going to attend high school. So just imagine being a kid, you know, you start making new friends, you have all your old friends, you know, everything's going good, you're playing sports, you meet a girl, and guess what? It is time to move to a brand new school, not in elementary, maybe even junior high, in high school. So I just knew from that moment that it was not going to go good. So, you know, we move into this new place, bigger house. My stepfather at the time got a job at the University of Wyoming. So it was a career change. Well, it wasn't a career change. He was still a baker, but he made quite a bit more money. So it was good. We got a pretty decent sized house, and you know, everything was going good with that. But then I had to go to school, and I'll tell you what, going to Laramie High School, it was really preppy. There wasn't like these gangs and all that stuff like that, but everybody was so clicked up at this high school that I did not fit in with nobody. I made like maybe a dozen friends the whole time I was there. Chris was one of my good friends. Big shout out to him. But I didn't make a ton of friends, and I was kind of a loner back then. So I was about 17. I was in my 11th grade. I was getting teased. I was kind of getting bullied a little because I had real thick glasses. I was a little dorky back then, and I didn't fit in because I was the new guy coming into a new school and everything like that. So I remember I made the bad decision to drop out of high school. I didn't want to do it, but just the circumstance, I started working at the University of Wyoming, and I pledged to get my GED. I ended up getting the job at the University of Wyoming, my first job ever. It was funny because there, first I started just filling up like the cereal station, the fruit and everything at the Washakie Hall at the University of Wyoming, where they fed all the college students and stuff like that, their little cafeteria and whatnot. And then when I turned, because I think I got that job at 16, and then when I turned 17, I was able to work on the line. So they let me work on the line. So I actually worked on this little egg station where I made eggs to order. And I remember some of these big, huge, muscular football players would get like 10 over easy eggs, 12 over easy eggs, 12 scrambled eggs, and stuff like that. So I got really good at making eggs and stuff like that. Back then it was funny because I didn't make shit for money, to be honest. I think my minimum wage back then was like $4.75 an hour. So I made like $4.75 an hour. I was working full time. I wanted to get my GED, but they had something where you couldn't get it till you turned 18. So I had to wait another year to get my GED, and kept working. I was helping my mom and stepdad pay a little bit of the bills and everything back then. And it was funny because one little hidden thing about JT is I was an aspiring rap artist back then. I kid you guys not. I thought I could rap and stuff like that. I was terrible. I ain't gonna lie. I probably do have some pictures. Maybe I'll show you guys a picture of me on my little beat machine making some beats and stuff like that. But that was kind of like one of those little fad things. I wrote some real shitty songs and stuff like that. But that was kind of my inspirations back then. But once I turned 18, I went and got my I went to get my GED. It was funny because they told me, they go, "Well, you could take this class and study." And I go, "Can I just take the test?" "Oh, no, no one just takes the test. You gotta, but you can if you want, but if you fail it, you don't get your money back." And I said, "Nah, I'll just take the test," because I knew I was really smart and could pass it. So I take the test, first time, pass it, had no problem with it or anything. They were kind of shocked that I passed the test the first time and got my GED. But at that point, I was kind of like a minor midlife crisis, you could say, where I was like, what do I want to do? I don't want to live in Laramie, Wyoming. I don't even want to live in Wyoming, really. So it was kind of cool because I met one of my friends that I worked with at the college, Washakie Hall it was called, and he was an older gentleman and stuff like that. And I remember he told me, he's like, well, what do you think about, I'm from North Carolina, so my wife, she's in school. Once she gets done, we're moving back to North Carolina. What do you think about, living in North Carolina? I'm like, I don't know, I'm 18, I kind of make my own decisions back then. And I remember he was like, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you come visit for Christmas with us? So this is where my whole life turned a complete 360. I'm going to leave it at that. On part 3, we're going to talk about my adulthood from the minute I turned 18. First time moving out the house, being on my own man. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you guys a little teaser. I've never looked back ever since. 20 years later, I'm still living on my own. So, that being said, I appreciate you watching part 2. It was kind of short. Just wanted to kind of summarize my junior high and high school years and where I grew up. You guys will see some pictures throughout the video if you didn't already see some pictures. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Definitely stay tuned for part 3. Talk about my adulthood. And then part 4, guys, we're taking that big drive to Las Vegas, Nevada. Part 3 of my life, I'll consider that obviously part 1, childhood, part 2, adulthood, and part 3, my middle to late ages of my life, showing my career, showing everything I'm about and what I want to pursue in my life. So you guys will definitely have to stay tuned for that, and we will see you for part 3. Salute later.